Welcome to Money is Freedom, a podcast exploring how finance and freedom connect in our lives. Created from thoughtful research and narrated by NotebookLM AI, this series brings you clear, meaningful insights into finance and beyond. Welcome back to episode 15, where we're exploring the critical intersection of technology, policy, and innovation. We'll delve into how government regulations impact emerging tech sectors like fintech, crypto, artificial intelligence, energy, and defense technology. With insights from leading venture capitalists Marc Andreessen and Ben Horowitz of A16z in Silicon Valley, we'll discuss the delicate balance between fostering innovation and implementing sensible regulations.
Welcome to our deep dive into tech and politics after this crazy election.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's talking about how intertwined everything is.
Exactly. And we've got 2 interviews to unpack here.
A lot of interesting stuff and some pretty wild theories.
Well, let's jump right in.
Okay, so...
One speaker actually thinks we're living in a branched timeline.
A branched timeline?
Yeah, like we're on one path, but things could have gone a totally different way.
Huh.
They point to 2 big events.
Okay.
The first one was the attempt on that politician's life.
Right.
They say the world could be completely different if that had gone another way.
So like a turning point.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the second event is this election. They think this was the first true internet election.
We've had the internet for a while, though.
I know, but they have some reasons why this one was different.
We'll have to get into that.
Definitely. But going back to that timeline split idea,
Yeah.
it's kind of scary, right?
I mean, it makes you wonder...
Like, what if things had gone differently?
Right, like a sliding doors kind of thing.
Exactly. And the speaker actually brings up the JFK assassination.
Oh, wow.
They're saying there's a similar lack of transparency around this attempt.
Lack of transparency, how so?
Like, there's no toxicology report and nobody's really demanding answers.
Huh. That's strange.
It's almost like they want us to believe in a conspiracy.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And this ties into a bigger issue.
What's that?
People just don't trust institutions anymore.
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
If we can't get straight answers about something this big, what can we trust?
Right. It makes you question everything.
Exactly. And you know what else made me question things?
What's that?
The amount of money going to activist groups during this election.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Like over $100 million funneled through NGOs.
100 million.
Yeah, and a lot of those NGOs get funding from the government.
So the government's basically funding activism.
Well, that's what this speaker thinks.
Huh?
They call it soft totalitarianism.
Soft totalitarianism.
Yeah, it's like the government's trying to control things indirectly.
Control things. How?
Through these groups, they can censor certain viewpoints.
Without directly doing it themselves.
Exactly. It's sneaky.
It's a bit unsettling.
It is. And they're not just talking about this election. They see it as a pattern.
Like what?
Like with Operation Choke Point.
I've heard of that.
The government pressured banks to stop working with certain businesses.
Right, because they didn't like those businesses.
Exactly. And then there was the Canadian truckers' strike.
Oh, yeah.
Protesters had their licenses threatened, even their kids.
Wow, that's intense.
And then there's this thing called the Wells Notice.
The Wells Notice, I'm not familiar with that.
It's a notice from the SEC saying a company might be charged with something.
Okay.
But just the possibility of charges can ruin a company.
How so?
Other companies get scared and refuse to work with them.
Even if they haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah. It's like weaponizing uncertainty.
That's pretty messed up.
It is. And now for something a little lighter.
Okay, I need that.
One speaker joked about a Department of Government Efficiency.
Uh-huh.
They called it Doge.
Doge, like the meme.
These speakers a big Elon Musk fan.
Uh-huh.
But it does raise a good question.
What's that?
Can the government ever be as efficient as a tech company?
That's a good question.
Like, imagine if they could move at that speed.
What could they accomplish?
What could they accomplish?
So much, right?
It's an interesting thought.
It is, but then we hear about these mouse wigglers.
Mouse wigglers.
Yeah, apparently some agencies use them to track employee activity.
Track their activity.
Let's just see if they're actually working.
Oh, wow.
Kind of a funny image, right?
Yeah.
But it also shows how inefficient things are.
People getting paid to do nothing.
Basically.
Yeah.
And that ties right back into government accountability and spending.
Are we getting our money's worth?
These speakers don't think so.
Yeah, it's a big concern. It's like, we have amazing tech, but the government can't keep up.
Totally. And it's not just the tech, it's the whole mindset.
Right.
And that brings us to American health. Oh boy.
These speakers did not hold back.
What'd they say?
They basically think the government is poisoning us.
Poisoning us.
Well, with the food system, they're really critical of subsidies for unhealthy food.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
It's like we all know what a healthy diet is.
Right, common knowledge.
But then we're surrounded by cheap junk food.
And the government supporting it.
Exactly.
It's messed up.
Makes it hard to make good choices.
For sure. But there might be some hope.
Oh?
They're kind of optimistic about RFK Jr.
RFK Jr.
Yeah, he got appointed to that health position.
I heard about that.
He wants to reform the food system.
That's good.
Take on those big food companies.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's worth watching.
Definitely. So one speaker told this crazy story about the Chan Zuckerberg initiative.
I remember that.
Mark Zuckerberg and his wife.
Trying to cure all diseases.
Sounds great, right?
Yeah, who would be against that?
Well, there was a huge backlash. People were really suspicious.
Like, some saw it as billionaires trying to control things.
Like buying influence.
Exactly. Others thought it was amazing.
Like vital funding?
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Is it good or bad?
Hard to say.
It's a bigger debate about philanthropy and government.
Right. Who should be doing what?
But you know what I liked about these speakers?
What's that?
They weren't afraid to criticize their own side.
Oh, yeah, they're on the right. Right.
Yeah. But they called out hypocrisy.
Like where?
Like with immigration. Republicans used to be all about legal immigration.
Welcoming people.
Exactly. But now they're much more restrictive.
That's a big shift.
It is. And they connected to economics.
How so?
They say Republicans are now the party of the working class.
And Democrats are the elites.
Yeah, kind of a role reversal.
Interesting.
And it shows in their policies, too.
In what way?
They say Democrats focus too much on identity politics.
And not enough on working families.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
And then anyone who disagrees gets labeled.
Racist, sexist, all that. Yeah, you can't even have a conversation.
It's like you have to agree with everything.
Or you get canceled.
It's a real problem.
Both speakers were worried about this intolerance.
Yeah, this unwillingness to debate.
We've lost the ability to have nuanced conversations.
Everything's black and white.
Us versus them.
One speaker even compared it to the Salem witch trials.
Wow.
A bit extreme, but I get the point.
Accusations are proof now.
And questioning the narrative makes you a heretic.
It's toxic.
Totally tearing us apart.
So what's the solution?
Yeah, well, they had some ideas.
Like what?
Personal responsibility, hard work, strong values.
Back to basics.
Yeah, building strong families and communities.
Sounds good.
But not easy.
Especially now.
True.
They also talked about education reform.
What did they say?
Our system focuses on indoctrination, not critical thinking.
Kids need to think for themselves.
Not just be told what to think.
Right.
One speaker even suggested teaching Stoicism.
Stoicism.
Yeah, that ancient philosophy.
Of self-control and resilience.
Interesting idea.
It is. It's about rediscovering timeless wisdom.
In a world that's changing so fast.
Right. We need that grounding.
Maybe the past can guide us.
What do you think?
I think there's something to that.
Yeah, me too. Those old ideas have lasted for a reason.
Exactly. And you know what else surprised me?
What's that?
They were all about embracing change.
We usually hear about resisting change.
I know, but they see it as inevitable.
Fighting it is pointless.
You'll just get frustrated.
And
Civilizations that embrace change thrive.
the ones that cling to the past decline.
It's true. The U.S. is at a pivotal moment.
Adapt or get left behind.
We're at a fork in the road.
One path leads to progress.
The other to stagnation.
The choice is ours.
And they see AI and blockchain as both a challenge and opportunity.
They could revolutionize everything.
For better or worse.
Depends how we use them.
So it's about our intentions and values.
Exactly. One speaker even predicted AI-powered governments.
AI governments.
Sounds crazy, right?
Like sci-fi.
But they think AI could solve a lot of problems.
Like corruption.
Inefficiency.
Short-sightedness.
A government driven by data and logic.
Not emotion.
Interesting, but scary.
Who would control it?
How do we make sure it's ethical?
Big questions.
Definitely. And they also see potential in blockchain.
For everything.
Finance, voting, supply chains.
More transparency and security.
Empowering individuals.
Decentralization.
But of course there are challenges.
Like what?
Scalability regulations, bad actors.
Always two sides.
Right.
But even with all that, they're optimistic.
About the future.
American ingenuity will prevail.
We can create a better world.
But it takes effort.
Courage.
Challenging the status quo.
They want us to have a pioneer spirit.
Take risks. Explore new frontiers.
Build something new.
It's about shaping the future.
Not just waiting for it. It
Yeah.
really is like taking control, you know.
Exactly. It's about individual action.
That's a big takeaway from these conversations.
Yeah, it's easy to feel overwhelmed.
By all the problems.
Right, but these speakers remind us that we can make a difference.
Even small things.
Like voting, volunteering.
Or just talking to people.
About these issues.
They told this great story about some young people.
Oh, yeah.
Promoting civic engagement.
Getting others involved?
Yeah, it shows that change can start anywhere.
From the bottom up.
Grassroots movements.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So don't underestimate your own power.
Your voice, your action.
You can be a catalyst.
In your community.
But it's also about being informed.
Knowing who to support.
Right. Look beyond those party labels.
Support candidates who share your values.
We need to move past this partisan gridlock.
Find leaders who are competent, ethical.
Who actually want to serve the public.
Not just their party.
It's about putting country first.
I think everyone can agree on that.
So we've covered a lot.
A ton of ground.
But there are a few more things I want to mention.
Oh, yeah. What else?
One speaker was worried about political discourse.
The quality of the conversation?
Yeah, it's gotten so bad.
They blame social media.
It's all outrage and division.
People just want to score points.
Not have real conversation.
We're addicted to the drama.
The conflict.
The negativity.
It's hard to find thoughtful debate.
And they also criticize the mainstream media.
Oh, yeah. What'd they say?
It's all about sensationalism and ratings.
Not accuracy.
They just want to grab your attention.
Keep you hooked.
Even if it means twisting the truth.
It's a problem because it distorts reality.
Makes it harder to understand things.
And then there's government overreach.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one.
They think that government is too intrusive.
In our lives.
Regulating everything.
But we eat what we say.
How we raise our kids.
It's stifling.
They want less government, more freedom.
The classic libertarian argument.
It might be controversial, but it's worth considering.
Definitely. And that's what these speakers did so well.
Presenting different perspectives.
Challenging our assumptions.
Encouraging critical thinking.
It's a lesson in forming your own opinions.
Absolutely. I've learned a lot from these conversations. Me too. And I hope you have too, listener.
We've covered so much.
Technology, human nature, history.
But the key takeaway
is that we're living in a time of incredible change.
Unprecedented opportunity.
The old rules are gone.
The lines are blurring.
The future is uncertain.
But also exciting.
It's up to us to decide what happens next.
These speakers believe we're at a crossroads.
The choices we make now will have huge consequences.
Not just for us, but for future generations.
It's a big responsibility.
But also an incredible opportunity.
We can shape the future.
Create a better world.
More prosperous, more fulfilling.
But it takes work.
We have to be informed, engaged, and courageous.
Embrace change. Challenge the status quo.
Work together.
Build a better future.
So go out there and make a difference.
The future is waiting.
And that concludes our deep dive for today.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep learning.
Keep questioning.
And keep pushing the boundaries.